All right, here. Now, this is from LevelCap. LevelCap's rather new to Star Citizen. He dove in, I think, about a year and a half ago. And he's saying Star Citizen 3.20, 3.20, an exciting mess. Let's check out one exciting mess. Now, there's a title. There's a clickety-clack title.
Star Citizen's 3.20 patch is now live, and it's a bit messy. There's some cool stuff in this patch.
Anytime a patch is released, there is a problem. Like, this is just welcome to Star Citizen.
But it might be a little bit before you get to experience it due to the wave of new bugs and server stability issues. That said, I did manage to get some time in while things were working, and
let's get the shot of not having a head.
I've got some hot takes. Now, the first thing I wanted to check out when loading in was the new Microtech forest density. A while back, Microtech had much denser, more realistic looking forests, but they were kind of scaled back, I assume for performance reasons at one point. Now those dense forests appear to be back, and they look quite nice. The game still has some bad pop-in issues when flying around, but the density of the vegetation looks quite good, and it gives me a lot of hope that they might be able to do some really cool full jungle planets like Kashyyyk from Star Wars or Pandora from Avatar. This will also probably be...
I mean, what we're going to see from Pyro is going to be pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to getting kind of boots on the ground in Pyro and checking out new planets. I think everybody is out there. And but the fact that we have planets right now and moons out there we can walk around in such a manner, I mean, come on. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that, man.
Be a significant factor for the updated Jumptown missions that are coming, where one of them is going to take place on Microtech in a forested area. It's going to provide a lot more cover, a lot more opportunities for potentially infantry to fight back against prowling ships overhead. Now, before we get to the next point, I'm getting kind of hungry. Luckily, today's sponsor can help with that problem. I don't know about you guys, but my life...
Oh, God. Oh, are we doing the show here? Hold on. It's salad vibes time. It is salad vibes time. Hold on a second. Literally, it's salad vibes.
Warning. Incoming salad vibes.
Listen, I know people got to make a living, but this is the literal definition of salad vibes. Who hates it? Put a 1 in chat. When you're watching a video and you see that shill hit in the video, man, it is the worst thing. I'm putting a 1 right now. I will never do this on my channel. I've gotten 2 offers, by the way. I've gotten 2 offers that were fairly sizable, and I said no because I made a blood oath to my audience that would never put this type of hello nasty up on my screen, which we call salad vibes. This is the very definition of salad vibes. Now listen, every man's got to make his money. I understand LevelCap. He's getting a nice little check from this probably. Okay, he's got to make a living like anybody else out there. But as a viewer, as somebody that's consuming the content with my eyeballs, when I see this, unless I really like the dude, I turn it. I just turn. I don't even watch the guy's channel ever again. Like, the only time I'll ever watch and tolerate this type of show is for people I really, 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 really like and have subscribed to and watch. Like the Whiskey Tribe, love them. They got chill, but it's so great the way they incorporate it. There's a couple people that incorporate the show in such a manner that it is tolerable, right? But when I see this, nothing but this.
Warning, incoming salad vibes.
So let's fast forward. Let's fast forward. The man's got to make a living.
For myself, and calorie content brave, they're ready to.
And again, oh, he's doing Factor. Let me tell you though, Factor's pretty good. Let me tell you, it looks like shit, but it tastes really good. That should be their motto. Factor's motto should literally be on every package. This looks like shit, but it tastes the exact opposite. Tastes
Bring
amazing.
it down hard.
What's up, dog?
What are you doing?
Dance off, bro.
Right. Like what if every package you opened up came out and on the cover it literally was like, this will look like absolute shit, but tastes absolutely not like shit because it tastes amazing. Let me tell you, Factor. Whew. By the way,
get mounted. This message brought to you by Predator Mounts.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Right to my door. All I have to do is pop Factor meals in the microwave. They're ready to serve in 2 minutes. They taste fantastic. They're well portioned, and I never have to worry about finding ingredients.
Mad Style says thanks to you. I ordered Factor. It's on the way. Imagine the affiliate money you would have gotten. Hold on. Where's your button? Mad Style's got a button here somewhere, Pepe. Can we get... Dude, you're so metal, dude. You're so metal, dude. I love it. I love it.
Or even cleanup time.
All
also,
right, fast
my
forward
kids
the shill. Fast forward the shill. I forgot
kids.
even what the video.
Plus, they
you understand? This is why I can't stand shill, because I forgot exactly what this video is about. Are we watching Star Citizen? Like, what are we watching? Enough with this shill. Jesus, that's a lot of shill. How many more times? Pepe. Oh, thank you. Wow.
The improved wheeled vehicle physics, basically CIG.
Factor Citizen
has been doing a bunch of work to try and make vehicles feel heavier, not flip over as easy, feel just generally more realistic. And I don't know if they typed in the wrong number right before compiling this patch or something, but it's got some issues. I really wanted to make this work because this is one of those avenues of gameplay that I feel could be amazing once they dial it in, where you have missions that you need to get to by driving long distances, but I could barely get any vehicle really out of the hangar bay here, the main vehicle spawn garage, without flipping it. I mean, look at this here. It's insane. Someone on Twitter said it might have
you know, the physics, man. Don't even get me started.
Something to do with wearing a backpack while in a vehicle or something like that. Maybe there are some good physics behind this, but even this, I noticed that as soon as I let go of acceleration, the car like slams on its brakes. I mean, the amount of chassis sway on this vehicle is truly insane. It really wants to just flip itself. My final test was to take the STV out to a big grassy field and just drive it around, and it was kind of a disaster. Every rock I slammed into almost flipped the vehicle. And while you could say that would be somewhat realistic for off-roading physics IRL, if CIG wants players to be able to navigate this world in anything other than a hover bike, they're going to really need to find...
Thank you, Doug. This LevelCap, what we're watching is a 10-minute Factor commercial, and then he's driving over every rock on the planet to show you how bad the physics are. Like, I love it. I love it, man.
Tune some of these collision mechanics and give players a bit of leeway.
The physics grid needs help. The physics grids always need help. That's the biggest bitch I have about Star Citizen. The physics grid, I talk about it all the time. I go beast mode when I start talking about physics in Star Citizen. We all know it's a problem. We've known it before 3.20. We've known it way before that. We've known it before 3.0. Thank you, Doug. This is something that everybody who's played the game, we know. They needed to dial this in like a century ago. We all know this, you know. Like, okay, so I'm going to tell you why this makes me a little upset. Is unless there is like even 10 times more than usual, which I did not hear him say. So, you know, apologies if he did say that the physics grid on this new patch is actually worse than it was in prior patches. So if that's what he's saying, I get it. But if this is like the same physics grid and the same physics we're all accustomed to, I don't know why we got to drive over every single rock at the beginning of the video, because we all know this. Like, this is no new news to us, unless he's reporting this to like people who are brand new to the project trying to get in on 3.20 because they did such a good job at the commercial, you know, and edited a video that may have brought in new people, which is the whole reason behind a commercial, by the way. Let's keep going.
When it comes to just hitting rocks, small rocks, for example. Next, I had to test out the new Marai Fury LX.
Okay, and this is a very niche ship, and this is my criticism. Like, this is a constructive criticism with this ship. It's a very niche ship, but I am very happy for people like Luigi and Black Maze and people who are racing. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback on this one from a few of you who are racing. I would like to hear more feedback, actually, from some of you on this particular ship. But it's a niche type of ship. They're trying to bring in more revenue. That's all they're trying to do. They're just trying to bring in more revenue and see what existing models are out there they can tweak a little bit and get a couple extra bucks thrown their way, you know.
I actually think the 3.20 patch is probably one of the better patches for racing so far. So if racing is your main thing, this is probably one of the biggest patches you've seen in a long time. The Fury LX is a cool looking ship. It doesn't have weapons on it, which is, you know, a little bit of a bummer, but it is a pure racing craft. It's got incredible visibility, and the maneuverability is extremely fun. I kind of wish...
I love Futz is like getting... Futz is... ever since Futz joined tonight, all Futz is doing is getting triggered. Can we have a Futz button real quick here for the recognition of the fact that Futz has been getting triggered all night long? Like, it's okay, Futz. We're going to get you through this. This is DG. We're here for you. We're all here for you. DG360, we're family. We're going to get you through this, Futz. We're going to get you through. We're going to get you
Most
through.
ships in the game flew like this, and then you could just take something like the Fury and give it even more mobility or something. But it is just a pleasure to fly. I think the racing community is really gravitating towards this ship as well. And just what I like about it so much is it really does all the best things about Star Citizen's flight model, which is giving you tons of side thruster maneuverability. So you just feel like you have so much control over this ship. Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing this level of control in more ships, and then like the Fury just becoming the better version of that. But it is so fun to fly this ship, and it made me really wish that more ships had these types of maneuvering capabilities. Now, the next thing I wanted to test out are the new AI enemy ships that you can run into on bounty missions and other missions involving space combat. First,
we can attest to that the AI does some pretty cool things. We saw, if you watched last Saturday when we released, I think it was like our funny highlights, we saw Cobra and his team literally revive NPC, get the NPC up, and then the NPC put its hands behind its head and knelt down on one knee. It was pretty cool to see AI operating in that particular manner.
I had to run a few bounty missions to unlock my bounty tiers again. It's kind of annoying whenever they drop a patch. You have to run the like introductory mission to it, and then it unlocks the rest of your rep that is saved to your account. So I had to run these missions, and I took the links out to run a bunker bounty mission, and flipped it, almost crashed it like 10 times on the way there, thanks to the awesome new driving physics. But we made it there, and I noticed...
So he's saying the awesome new driving physics. So basically they released this patch, and they do need to like look at that. So interesting.
Something else that was really cool that I had seen other players talk about, and it was mentioned in the patch notes, but I always hand wave any sort of AI patch notes because the AI almost always seems completely non-responsive, unreactive in most situations. But this time, the AI were different. They seemed much more reactive, much more intelligent, pushing my position. I don't know if this is part of the new patch or if it's because I was on a new server that was just giving me a lot of AI overhead, and that's why they were responding.
What's
but
up, bro?
actually ended up dying on this AI mission because I only brought enough ammo to kill a few guys, and it basically screwed me over because I thought I was going to be able to just loot some weapons, but they pushed me really hard, and I kind of...
Yeah, it absolutely has to do with server performance. You're right, Aether. That's a good thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. You know, like it always has to do with server performance, man. And we need more information. I hope we get more on how they're the overarching plan and how close we are with the teams involved. I really need to know, man. Like CitizenCon, I'm so worried about CitizenCon this year. I actually think that like they need to at least do mediocre to good. Like if they're anything less than mediocre this year, it's going to be a bloodbath. Like CitizenCon this year, I feel is very important. Unlike other CitizenCons, I know we say this a lot come CitizenCon time, but I think this CitizenCon is so important. It's up there. It's way up there.
Kind of fumbled around not having my medical gear set up properly, and there we go. AI comes in, takes me down. I was quite impressed by this, to be honest. So I did run another mission after this to sort of test it out. And the AI, again, were much more responsive.
Those monthly reports, man, I glance at those, and I'm telling you something, Nathan. I get tilted and triggered every time I go into those reports, dude. I used to cover those, and man, I would get like high blood pressure. I felt like one time I actually got an aneurysm while covering it.
So I took it way more causiously. I was actually somewhat afraid of them this time, and that's a very good upgrade. I hope that this isn't just because of having extra server overhead, and I hope this is sort of a new back-end system where AI are going to consistently respond much quicker and much more realistically. I had also read on Reddit that they saw AI picking up weapons off the ground, and one had even picked up a grenade launcher from a previous player and was able to use it in combat. So that sounds very cool. This is something that needs a lot more testing to sort of suss out just how deep it goes, but I was impressed, to say the least. The guns also sound a bit different and have different recoil, although in this play session, the audio completely bugged out, which is something that other players have been telling me about, which is not good. It's one of the many bugs that 3.20 brought to the game. It almost feels like they brought a lot more bugs than they fixed with this patch, so we'll see what happens on that front. But if your weapons are kicking more or sounding a bit different, it's because they have gone through a significant overhaul.
Love your comments,
also, in
Ethan.
case you're wondering, the restricted area flight zones over Lorville are still pretty extreme. This right here is a restricted area. I was getting some beauty shots, and all of a sudden, bam, my ship disappears, and I end up as a headless dude on the ground outside of Lorville because that's what impounding a ship does. The amount of bugs in this game right now are pretty crazy. I could easily fill up a length.
Yeah, they got to do a better job when they release these officially to the PU. They just, I don't know exactly why it tends to be when these get released and they go from PTU to PU that they're still so ridden with bugs. Like, is it a lack of testing in the PTU or proper testing? Maybe not enough Evocati members, maybe not enough. Like, it just seems like a lot of bugs slip through the patch going from PTU to PU. Do you guys feel that way? I feel like that happens like on a continual basis going from patch to patch. I've gone through everything since the very beginning, and it always seems to me that the amount of bugs that slip through from the PTU into the PU just seem it's not acceptable. I understand, you know, where we're at in this process. It just doesn't seem that acceptable.
The video with the amount of bugs I ran into just trying to test this patch, it was extreme. Many of the ships weren't working properly. Many of the missions weren't spawning properly. Many of the features, like loading the whole sea with cargo, wasn't working properly. So it's not in a good state right now. I don't recommend jumping into 3.20 at the moment unless you really do want to just be an alpha tester and report on bugs. Nonetheless, I soldiered on with my mission to find some of the new AI ships, and I found an 890 jump mission. I knew there was going to be some ships outside of that. And I engaged, and sure enough, we found a ship that I've never fought before in the universe, the Prowler. This is based on an alien ship from the Tavaran Wars. It's a Tavaran dropship. It's super cool looking. It makes a great bad guy ship, and it was awesome just to run into this randomly, because normally I would have been fighting like Cutlass Blacks or something on this mission, which I fought 1,000 times before, and now that we have a much bigger enemy ship pool to pull from for each mission, I can see a lot of variety and fun coming from this. Obviously, the enemy AI probably needs a bit of work in terms of becoming more challenging or offering more challenging missions and stuff, but it is neat to fight this thing. I totally forgot it had a tailgun turret, and I'm curious to see what other kinds of ships that I run into. Next up, I wanted to test out Arena Commander, because that is one of the main focuses of this patch, a complete new front end for Arena Commander for matchmaking and new maps, new modes. This is the new map that takes...
Which I think is very smart. And our friend Donnie, who is a member of our community working for Cloud Imperium, actually is on this team. So Donnie, if you're listening, bro, keep up the good work, man. I think like keeping this kind of essential is really good for the in and out BR PvP crowd. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seems like if they could really beef this up, this is theaters of war essentially that everybody wanted. If we could do this right and keep people in and rooted, it would be great for player retention. So when Donnie told us, what was it, like last month, guys? Donnie Be Good, who's a member here of the community and also works at Cloud Imperium. It was nice to see him say, hey, I'm on this team, by the way, DG. And I was like, oh, cool, man. Cool.
takes place over a planet. It's the first planet battle you can have in Arena Commander, which is cool. I loaded up Pirate Swarm, but was pretty quickly disappointed by just how poorly this map was set up for the out of bounds limit. All the enemy ships spawn way out of bounds and often don't attack you immediately, or your AI companions will attack them out of bounds and you have to like sit inbounds watching them. It's really poorly set up, and it just reeks of not having enough time to really stress test this content. And that's kind of the underlying theme with patch 3.20. Another decision that CIG made.
The 320 is the rush out, right? The 320 is the rush out because they wanted the commercial. They wanted everything cut before CitizenCon. So I'm going to tell you how things work in the real world. A lot of people here live and other people watching on YouTube, we're all adults here. We understand what's going on behind the scenes. We understand why things are happening the way that they're happening. And 320 is essentially wrapped up really fast right before CitizenCon to get new players in and accustomed to what Star Citizen is. And a lot of things sound like they were rushed through on the 320. And then what happens is CitizenCon hits, and then 3.21 happens on the back end, or sometimes they can rush out a 3.21 before CitizenCon and soothe over. If everybody gets so irate, then they'll soothe it over right before CitizenCon. Right, and then they'll hit CitizenCon, and you know, this is essentially introducing a lot of things, and they're trying to get it out there and sell it, and they made the commercial for it, and they want it to land before CitizenCon. That's how things go. That's how they go.
With Arena Commander, which I don't agree with, is doing timed content events. So master modes, which I was really excited about, that is going to let players test the new flight models in master mode, is a timed event as opposed to something that you can just access all the time. And while I do think there are some benefits to doing timed game mode events in other games, it's a good way of getting players all into an event for a little while, testing it out, and then burning out and moving on to the next thing. I don't think Star Citizen is quite set up for doing these types of timed events in Arena Commander. We'll see what happens, but I'm pretty disappointed that I can't just jump in and test out master modes. Putting that behind a timed event seems really stupid because they need feedback on master modes. You don't want to just get feedback from one limited time event. You want players testing it out constantly, trying it out with friends, and giving CIG feedback whenever possible. Next up, I dropped into some racing in Arena Commander. This is probably one of the better features of this patch, and it's going to be great for people who like racing. I don't know a ton of people who are super into racing, but there is a small community around it, and now you can actually get into a racetrack and practice without being super punished by dying in the persistent universe. So maybe more players will get into racing after this patch. That said, spaceship racing in Star Citizen is very challenging, even with some of the new markers on the tracks. I feel like it could benefit from some of the things that traditional racing games have, like a colored line that shows you both where to go, and if you're going too fast, those can be some really nice aids when learning other racing games. And since this is significant,
Bring it down hard.
What are you doing?
Dance off, bro.
You see the pelvic thrust? I mean, like, you know, even in an alternate reality where I'm Star-Lord, I still got that pelvic thrust. You know what I'm saying? Can I get an amen from a pelvic thrust there, Pepe?
Yes, sir. Can I get an amen? Yes.
Rocking that pelvic thrust. You don't even know, in every reality. Every reality.
Significantly more challenging than other racing games. It could definitely use a little bit more aids to get some maybe skeptical players on board, and I would count myself in that category. Now, I really did want to test out some cargo trading with the Whole Sea, because this is the other new spaceship in this patch. Unfortunately, the game kind of bugged out when trying to load the Whole Sea.
Doug!
With a common denominator.
Doug, look at you in first place. You're going to get the... Can we get some fanfare for Doug? Doug is showing up tonight, man. Doug, man, thank you so much tonight. You are super generous. I love you, bro. Thank you. Everybody tonight, it's so nice to be here. Oh, my God, it's Thursday.
Yes, sir. Can I get an amen? Yes.
Oh my God, it's Thursday. Man, this week went by so fast and crazy. This is a chaotic week. filled with explosions and action. And now it's time for satisfaction. Can I get an amen?
Yes! Can I get an amen? Yes!
Woo! All right, let's keep going.
See, I flew into the square, unspooled or opened the spools for the ship, and then it just never really loaded for me.
It's like, what's going on
I'm
right
not sure
now?
if it was bugging out, if it was a back-end server thing, if I clicked the wrong thing, but I'll definitely be testing it out once I feel like the servers are in a better state to see if any of these trade routes are profitable and, more importantly, actually fun. Now, there's definitely a lot more stuff to check out with this patch. Aside from all the different Arena Commander modes, there's new illegal salvage missions and stuff like that that do look interesting. It's a new type of mission where you have time limits to do stuff, or you get in trouble with the law, so that sounds kind of cool. One of the best quality of life updates with the 3.20 patch is the quantum jumping UI just working as intended, whereas before you had all these kind of weird off-center issues with it. They actually updated it, and that's just such a huge deal. I can't imagine the amount of
That is a huge deal. Good for LevelCap.
players that stopped playing Star Citizen because they couldn't figure out how to quantum jump somewhere because of the broken and buggy UI. So that's a huge deal right there. I think there's a lot of other stealth patch updates. A lot of the patch notes simply didn't mention some of the cooler or more important stuff in there. So I imagine we're going to discover a lot of other little things as the servers become more and more stable. But anyway, that's my overview so far of testing this patch as much as possible.
LevelCap gave like a 2-minute Factor commercial and then just basically was like, yeah, there's a lot of bugs in 3.20. Just summing it up right there. Oh, okay. All right. No. He did more than that. He did more than that. He did more than that. And we're going to buy some Factor. We're going to buy some Factor as well.